Hi, my name's Carrie Smithers, and I'm a web developer, and I'm really happy you're here. I'm gonna teach you how to create your own website and web applications, and I'm gonna start at the very beginning. I'm gonna assume you have never done any programming before. If you have, that's great. If not, don't worry. We're gonna take it really slow and start at the very beginning. So today we're going to get ourselves set up. We're going to create a little development environment, a little testing environment on our local computer that eventually, if you want to move your website up to the web, we can find hosting, and I'll talk about that later. But today we're going to work just on the local computer, and we're going to focus on the client side, basically the browser side, and HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language. That's the language of the web, and that is the language that the browser uses to format a web page. So hypertext markup language is a series of elements, and you surround your content with that tells the browser how to format um, the page and what it's going to look like. So that's where we're going to start there. And I'm going to keep it really short today just to kind of create our very first page and get ourselves set up. And then over time, we're going to add a lot of stuff to it. So we'll add CSS, cascading style sheets, we'll add JavaScript, we'll eventually move over to the server side, and we'll use PHP on the server side. And then finally, we'll add a database in the back end on the server. And then finally, if you want to upload it to a web host provider, you can do that, and you'll be online. And it's really fun, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's get started, okay? Okay, so here we are, and I've opened up a browser. I'm using Safari, but as I said, it doesn't matter. You can use Internet Explorer or Chrome. And the other thing we're going to need was that text editor. So Notepad or TextEdit or whatever text editor you want, as long as it's a plain text file that's being created. And I am a little old school. I like to just open up a terminal window and kind of go under the desktop and interact directly with the file structure. You can do it however you want. It does not matter. Whatever you're comfortable with, whether you want to use Finder or whatever the equivalent is on Windows. So I've created a little directory on my computer where I'm going to put the code we create for this class. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a test environment. So I'm going to make a directory called my website. Okay, and then I'm going to go into that. Okay, and as I said, we're going to create our first file, and it's called index.html. Okay. I'm going to just type, and then we'll explain it. I'll explain it later. And there we have it. That's our very first website, if you will, or web page. So this is a basic structure of a HTML page. The first line, the doc type, when the server serves when you go to that domain, carriesmithers.com, it's going to find index.html, it's going to serve it back. The browser's going to now parse this. These tags, these HTML tags, are going to instruct the browser how to format the view of the web page. So that's just what the markup language does, is it just gives additional information on how you want the content to be displayed. So there's an opening and a closing tag. You'll see, like here we have H1, that's a header, and then the closing tag, and then the welcome. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So now we're gonna save that. Did I save it? Save it. And now I'm gonna open up my browser, and I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna open up a file, not location, but open file. And then let's find that. Oh, it came right to it, my website, index.html. Let's see what happens. Wow, we did it. Awesome. So you may notice a couple things. So the title over here is the title of the tab. Here we have my Google tab and my website. And then this welcome to my website is the content between the H1. So now, when you're in your browser over here, this is why I like to look at Safari. And I'm sure there's the equivalent in the other browsers. But notice I have this develop tab. If you go into your preferences, you can turn that tab on. And it gives me all this really cool stuff. So one of the things I really like that I think is really, really useful in this day and age is this enter responsive design mode. And we go in there and, oh, look, we have all the different kinds of devices. So we can see what it's going to look like on various devices. These are screen sizes. Here's an iPhone. Here's an iPhone 8, iPad mini, and you can even like do this and it will, do different things. But it's a really nice way to check that your markup is going to actually be flexible and look good everywhere. We don't want to hard code things so they only look good on one screen size. We have to deal with all these screen sizes, and we'll get into more of that later when we get into Bootstrap. But for now, that's just a really cool little thing in the Safari browser that allows you to design for different platforms. So we're just going to exit that for now, exit design mode, okay? And then the other cool thing here under the develop is I can open up, I can see the source of the page. So see down here, it opens up source, and there's my source down here, and there's all sorts of interesting things here, and console for errors. We'll get into this more later, but this is really all you need. So we can close this. We don't need that right now. And now let's go over here and make some changes. So what if I change my title to something else? My cool website. And we come over here and we refresh it. And now the tab over here says that. And then welcome to my website. Between those header tags, which makes the font a little bigger, we can change everything later, and that's when we're going to start using what's called CSS, cascading style sheets. But for now, we're just kind of use the default display of the tag. So that's how H1 is going to be a certain size font. And then let's create a little paragraph under there. So then we'll just say like paragraph. I like to actually do the opening and closing at the beginning so I don't forget. And would you like to meet my dogs? So now we'll go over here and refresh. And there we go. So now we have a header, H1, and then we have would you like to meet my dogs? What if I change that H1 to a different element like H2 or H3? There's H1 through 6, which are standard, And now watch what happens when I refresh. That's going to get smaller. So with the general tags, they're pretty powerful in themselves, but of course they're not going to give us everything we want. So I'll change that to 1. And later I'll show you how you can create your own classes so that you can be consistent across your website. So let's just go back there and we'll do that. And the last thing we're going to do today is just add some sort of fun picture. So I'm going to go out of here. Let's see, somewhere I have a picture of my doggies. Let's go over here to a Finder. Let's see, where are pictures? And there they are. I like that picture. So let's copy that. Copy. And I'm going to move it over into my website. This is just a different way to create folders. I kind of do both. So I'm going to create a new folder in here. And I'm going to call it image. And it's just going to be a place we can put our images. And I'm going to open that. And I'm going to put that picture there. And I'm going to rename it because I like my things to be named things that I know what they are. So let's rename this file to Beach Boys. Okay, so now I have that, and you can look at it different ways. I like, actually, depends on what I'm doing. I like looking at it that way. Okay, so now let's go back here, and if we see I created that image, and if I look at my image, there it is. So I'm gonna grab that. I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna go back to my markup here, and I'm going to put that image, and the source is going to be, and now the image tag, you don't have to have a closing tag, but just to be kind of proper, I like to put, that's a shortcut. So if you're not going to have a closing tag, you can put that there. And it just knows it's the end of there's no content basically in that tag. And if for some reason the browser can't display it, it's just going to show that text over there. So now let's take a look over here. We've saved that, and let's refresh this. Oh, it's a little too big. I mean, if we go into our responsive mode here, oh my gosh, that's just not going to work, is it? On different sizes, you can't see anything. Look at my text on the top, looks okay. And notice how you don't want to put, it's going to fit to the screen between the tags, okay? I'll show you some other tricks later, but yeah, let's fix that. And let's come back over here, and let's give it some dimensions. So if I say, I know I'm on a screen that's about, if we're on a screen that's 598 by 799, we want it to be smaller. And again, we'll get into the responsive stuff later. So I come over here, and I can say, width equals 400 pixels. So now it's going to change that so I can see it. And there we go. So now if we enter exit here, and we come over here and we save it, we've done it. We've created our first web page with a picture of my beautiful dogs. Now in the red here on the lower part of the screen, that is Barkley, and on the top is Baxter, just in case you're interested. They are my coding buddies and usually are under the table licking my feet when I'm coding or snuggled up nearby. So I hope you enjoyed this first lesson and try it and play with it. And I'll show you some resources where you can find some more tags. A great resource is here called w3schools.com. And if you go here to reference and you go to HTML tag reference, it talks about every single tag. So that might be a little bit of an information overload, but it is a great resource. And feel free to go explore some other tags and have fun. Oh, one last thing I want to show you. Well, I'll save it for next time. So, what did I do? Let's go back to my website, and I guess we'll end it right there. So I hope you enjoyed this first lesson. Okay, see you next time. Bye.